What is going on, my people? Good morning from Modern Leadership as we work through our technology issues here. But guys, today we have a really powerful, not only workshop, but session for you today. So if you're somebody who's a coach, you want to have more confidence, you want to be able to know and have that complete clarity that you can help anybody who brings anything to you, today's live stream is going to be for you. Because what we found is the three skills that we're going to dive into today are not skills that we see taught around. It's kind of like these are the foundations of everything, and people just expect you to do these three things. But let me tell you, when you're coaching somebody, when you're jumping in and trying to help them, these are the furthest things from your mind. At least this is what I found when it comes to not only when I was coaching early on, but even a lot of the people that we teach through our coaching system, is that when you bring these three skills to the forefront, not only do you help people transform quicker and actually get the results that they came for, but you will feel incredibly confident because you know you can help somebody through anything. And that's what we're diving into today is these three powerful skills that will change your life as a coach, but will help you transform more humans than you ever thought possible. So guys, welcome to Modern Leadership. Really, we like to see things differently, but we also love to help coaches not only explore the opportunities around transforming people, but also leading themselves and leading others to make more impact and income and transformation. And that's what we're here to do today. And I have a beautiful co-host here who, like 30 seconds before we went live, we finally came down here into our makeshift office, because we really want to deliver for you guys a really powerful session. So make sure you have some notes, some things to write on. But welcome. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, man. Let's just say a 4-hour session before this. Doing some, I actually coach inside of other people's programs. One of them is the Dad Edge. We had 4-hour session this morning talking about some pivots, some changes, some things that we're bringing to the community. A lot of it had to do with me coaching while I was there, but just think of 4 hours of me coaching and then I get to experience being here with you guys, right? And I'm going to be honest, these things that we're going to talk about today, if I didn't have them into today's session, it would have gone way different. And at the end, everybody was like, I've never felt more connected, more clarity on what the next steps are and why we're doing this. And the energy and the excitement was off the charts. And that's what you can do when you lean into these three things. So have we sold it long enough? Do we want to get started?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Let's
so
jump in.
I think you have a question first.
Actually, yes. So before we get started, I actually want to ask you guys to jump into the chat and tell us, how long have you been coaching? How long have you been thinking about coaching? Maybe you're not a coach yet, or how long have you been coaching? And what that process is for you right now. We just want to hear it in the comments.
Yep. So if you've been coaching for a minute, a month, a year, 13 years, like we first off, we welcome all of you. We'd love to hear where you guys are at this morning. All right. So let's go.
Okay. So we're actually going to dive right into skill number 1, and that is presence.
Okay.
Presence, not present.
Is like Christmas time presents? It kind of is a present that you get to give.
It is, I guess. So let me ask you a question about this.
Okay.
What does being fully present mean to you?
Okay. So in the when I'm describing what it means to be fully present, I really want you to think about maybe a time when you have been fully present with somebody and what the not only results came out of it, but how you felt when you were fully present. Now, when we say present, people are like, well, being in a place both physically and mentally and emotionally all in that moment, right? But when we describe it when it comes to coaching, it is being and giving your full time, attention, and focus on your client, the person that you are there to coach, without bringing in any of your judgments, your thoughts, and the plan that you think is going to work best for your client. Now, the reason why we say this is because when we bring our own stuff into our client sessions, we sometimes implant limiting beliefs. We sometimes give people our plan instead of helping them find their plan. And they leave the session actually feeling overwhelmed instead of what we want to really do is connect with them, give them clarity, which you'll find out a little bit later, but be fully present. So going back to what I originally said, have you ever had that moment where you're present both physically and mentally, like with your kids or with a client, with a friend, and you're not thinking about what you're going to talk about next? You're not thinking about the next question that you're going to answer. You are there present, you're focused, and you're paying attention because you don't want to miss things in a session. And we've seen that happen a lot. People will miss things because they're thinking about the next thing for them to say or for them to do. As a coach, we need to be present physically, mentally, and make sure that all of these thoughts that we have about our client, all the thoughts about what they should or shouldn't do, never make it into the session. Easier said than done, right?
Yeah, I think I find that coaches have trouble doing this.
Yep.
So my next question is why do you think that coaches struggle with this so much?
Yeah, we were kind of talking this before we actually went live, and that is like, there's this thought that if they give the answers, that's what leadership is me talking in the front, pointing direction, sharing like all of the directions that I think they should go. And from an early age, we kind of like have been structured that way, right? Like the teachers, teachers are up at the front, they're giving direction, they're telling you what to do. And it's really not, there's not a lot of like thinking on your own, but it kind of like plants these thoughts of like, if I really want to help these person, then I have to tell them what to do. Right. And so they kind of get stuck in that.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I don't want to mess up. And the thing is like your heart is there, right? It's like, I really want to make an impact here. So what can I say or do to make this person have this breakthrough or do all this stuff? But that's pressure on you and you're not present with them. Right. And so it is a heart-based thing that you want to help, but we just don't know that actually doesn't help when we do that. So that's why it's so hard, because we really, we call ourselves heart-led coaches here on Modern Leadership, and we're heart-led coaches. We really want to help people. And sometimes what that translates into is giving them the steps.
Yeah. So I have another question for you. So can you think of a moment when, or like where presence alone created that breakthrough?
Yes. Is Cynthia? Cynthia's here. Cynthia, what's up, my friend? Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Cynthia, not too much, but she's one of our powerful coaches here in this community. And every time that she shows up, she brings her A game. She was going through a very difficult situation. All right, very difficult situation. I won't share all the details, but let's just say a life-altering situation happened for her. And jumping on and having a conversation with her, we went through a process. We call it emotional resiliency. And basically, it's just kind of like around processing pain. All right. It's something we teach inside of the certification in the advanced part of the certification. But really, it has nothing to do with you giving advice, direction, or I'm so sorry that you're going through that. Like all of those things, maybe like for your friend, or maybe like in an outside situation, those might be helpful. But when somebody's going through a pain like that, you just being present with them, sitting in the pain with them and not trying to fix them is all they need, my friends. Sometimes that's all they need. Have you ever had that where you're having a conversation with somebody and instead of fixing them, you're kind of like just going along with them. You're just like talking about it. You're exploring it. We call this processing it, right? And by doing that, merely giving them your time and your energy is the game changer. This morning inside of the Dead Edge, one of the guys, his name is Jason McKenzie. He's on the leadership team with me. He was talking about, he went on this little trip this last weekend, and he was having a conversation with a kid. Kid's like 15 or 16 years old. But, and I found this a lot too, is that 15/16-year-old didn't have really great conversations with their parents. And what he said is when he was present with him, when he was just there, making it all about him, asking questions, getting curious, he said the kid did not want to hang up the phone. He's like, I'm sorry, guys, I might look a little tired, but I was literally on the phone for an hour and a half because this kid had never felt what it's like to get presence from his father. And so I stepped in and I just had a conversation with him and he didn't want to get off. That is what happens when you are present. It's easier said than done, and it takes practice. And it's something, the reason why we practice for 7 months inside of our certification, to make sure that you don't lose that presence. Because it's easy to go, well, what's the next question, or what's the next step, or what's this? And some of you guys have beautiful models and strategies, but if you're not present with them, you're going to miss some of those key things. And that's why presence is number one here. Being present mentally, physically, emotionally is what will help your clients just in and of itself, even more than you walking through specific steps and stuff like that, which is something that we do too, right? But being present is step one.
Yeah, I love that.
So I actually have a quote here that I want to share with you guys. And that is, quote is, your presence is more powerful than your process. Your presence is more powerful than your process. Some of you guys, I know I've talked to you, you have processes, but your presence will trump your process every time. Now, a process is an important piece. I also don't want to say that you shouldn't have a process. Please have a process, right? You want to have a path and a way to be able to help your clients, but you can't use that if you're not present.
Mm-hmm.
So get into your presence, and then all that other stuff will come along when it comes to your process.
Yep.
All right. You ready for step number 2?
Yep.
Skill number 2?
Or skill number 2, yeah.
All right. Skill number 2. And we actually specifically picked you out for this one because of all the time that you spend helping clients do this. But we're going to talk about skill number 2. Skill number 2 is clarity.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's clarity. So can you describe for them what we mean by giving your clients clarity? What do we mean by clarity?
Yeah, the way that I see it is that you're kind of guiding and helping your client get crystal clear on what that next step is. So it's not about helping them find that entire path. It's really only about giving them clarity on what that next step is for them. I kind of see it as like if you're walking down a path that's like super foggy. You can't see what's far away. However, you can see what your next step is. And that's what I see when I try to help my clients gain that clarity, is just allowing them to really explore what that next step is for themselves.
Yeah. So let me follow up on that, because like thinking about like how do you do that? How do you help them find what we term as like their answers, but to help give them that clarity?
Yeah. So one of the things, and this goes along with the presence piece, and this is listening deeply and asking the right questions. Mm-hmm. And you might be thinking, okay, well, how do I know what questions to ask? And that is actually something that we really dive into in the coach certification, because we don't even know like what questions to ask, but we learn through that process. And I think that asking the right questions is really allowing your client to find those answers for themselves, because it's not about fixing a problem. It's really about exploring what is going on and helping your client get to that point where they don't see the whole path. It's really just about what is that next step that's actually going to allow them to move forward.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I remember hearing this quote having to do with like the process of getting people to know what that next step is, and the quote just literally went from my brain.
Yeah, that happens to me too.
All right, let's move on to the next question that I have for you, and then I'm sure that this will come up. Is why do you think coaches feel the pressure to solve their clients' problems?
Yeah, and I think you kind of mentioned this before, where we're kind of taught that we're only helpful if we actually give it advice. So obviously that's a myth, right? And the thing is that it's not about having answers for people. It feels good to have answers for people, right? But that's not necessarily what's helpful. What coaching really is all about is about asking the right questions, is really about facilitating that transformation so that people can actually really know what their path is. And I find this over and over again where we get stuck in our own heads. And that's why like something that we really teach in the certification is about like clearing your mind. And I forget what you call it.
Clean thinking.
Clean thinking is we need to kind of like release that pressure and release that need to be the leader. Because leading really isn't about having all the answers. It's about being present with someone, giving and having your client gain clarity and asking the right questions so that they know which path to go.
Yep. And I remember the quote. I'm not sure if you saw me typing it in here or not. The quote was like, because a lot of people ask us like, what are the right questions, right? And one of the things that one of my mentors said is, he says, it's not about the first question. It's about all the questions that happen after that.
Yeah.
Right. So we could give you some questions. We actually do give people inside of our certification questions to start off with, but it's not about that question, guys. It's all the questions that come after that when you have the lens of not only the presence, but also helping your client get clear on what their next steps are. Because we know what happens if clients aren't clear, right? They do not take action.
Yep.
They do not. Then they beat themselves up. Then they get overwhelmed and they get overloaded and they come back to you and they're not taking any action, right? So if you have clients that are like that, ask yourself, am I being fully present with them? Because here's the thing, am I missing something that they're saying or doing? Like when I'm coaching somebody, and this is what I love YouTube so much, but I hate it for this, is I can't see you.
Yeah.
I can't see you. As a coach, and we call out to this inside of the certification, when you see your client go like this, or go like this, or their voice change, all of those things are incredibly important when you're coaching. It's not just about the questions, but those questions will help you lead them not lead them, but help lead the session in a direction where they get what they actually came for. So I want to share that. Okay. You want to share that quote below that?
Yeah. So we have just like a bunch of quotes for you guys today. Yep. But this quote is, coaches don't give clarity, they reveal it. So coaches don't give clarity, they reveal it. Okay. So let's move on to skill number 3.
Okay.
And that is integration.
What?
Integration. So why is integration often like the missing link in coaching, like when you're having conversations?
Yeah. So I find this with coaches who start to coach people. They start to have their clients have breakthroughs, but it doesn't translate into change of behavior or habits. And this is where like you're integrating like the mindset piece of things, the clarity, right? But you're also integrating it into getting them to take a different action, to show up differently, and to get the results they want. We're reading a book inside of our community that's called Lean Learning. And it talks about like this whole entire process of like learning just what you need in this moment. Not learning it all, not doing it all, but like literally learning it and implementing it, because that's really where the power is, right? And so I see a lot of coaches who give their clients breakthroughs, but they don't know how to integrate it into that person's regular life, into action and into results. So like, it's awesome to give people those breakthrough moments. If you follow step 1 and skill 1 and skill 2 here, you're going to give them like some really breakthroughs, right? You're present with them and you're able to like really help them get clear. They're going to have breakthroughs. But then you have to ask yourself, how do I integrate that into action? How do I integrate that into their busy whirlwind life? I mean, so many of you guys, we have, 10 people who are here live with us. Like, was it super easy for you to just get on the call today? Or did you have to find a way of getting here, of leaning in, right? Of finding some people like found somebody to watch their kids. Like some people are doing this while they're doing other things, right? But it's like, you have to find a way of integrating it into your regular life. And it's different for everybody. Which is why you don't just say, hey, this is exactly how you have to integrate it. There's a process around coaching that you learn how to have that mindset with the tactical piece too.
So can you give us an example of like when this has happened? So like, have you ever had a session where someone actually had a really big aha moment or something, but then they didn't do anything afterwards?
Yeah, 100%. So early on, I know a lot of you guys know this. So about 13 years ago is when I first started my coaching business, and I thought I was coaching. I didn't understand this integration part. I knew that I was like everybody's cheerleader, and I was giving them all the steps that I took in order to lose 100 pounds. And so they would have breakthroughs. They would be like, oh my goodness, this changed my life. And then a week later, nothing would happen. And I'd be like, what's going on? I gave you the steps and I was your biggest cheerleader. I checked in and like nothing is moving the needle. And what I discovered is that I wasn't using some of the tools that we teach around how to integrate this into everyday life, how to take those breakthroughs and turn them into action, right? And we have questions that does that, but really it's also like helping them get clear on what this actually looks like, right? Because you have the clarity of like, I know what I want. But do you know all the steps that it takes to get there? Like, what step are you going to take today? What are you committing to doing as a result, right? So these are different ways that we integrate it, but it's not just about the breakthrough moments. It's also about the integration. Can I go a little bit off track right now? Okay. Because a lot of people have reached out about our certification, and they're like, why don't you get just ICS certified, ICF certified, and all of these other certifications? This is it right here. Because I am not here just to give people breakthroughs. I'm here to give them breakthroughs and have them go change their life forever. And that doesn't happen just by a thought change. And I know we want to believe that, but it actually takes action and integration into your life. And so when people are like, well, why don't we go get, I'm like, you can go get that. Please do. And I'm not poo-pooing anything like related to any certification. I'm like, get as many certifications as you can. I got a ton of them. All right. But I'm like, if I have a system that has changed my life forever, I'm not going to give somebody half of it. I refuse to. And so I'm like, I'm sorry. Like if we lose sales because of it, or like, it doesn't bother me, because I know that when my life has been changed forever was having both of these things, that I need to give this to other people. So that's like something that I hear a lot is people asking me questions about that. And I just want to share that, because you have to have this integration piece of it down.
Yeah. So my question is, like, how do you help someone actually kind of live that breakthrough rather than just kind of have it during the session?
Okay. So here's the thing, guys. I'm going to talk a little bit about our certification right now. And this is actually, we're starting it on the 12th. We have a bonus call on the 5th. And I'll explain to you why I'm saying this. Because when you think about like helping people through breakthroughs and getting them to take action, you have to understand one vital piece of information. And even I got this wrong when I was teaching and certifying coaches previously. And that is, you have to find out what the actual problem is that your clients are dealing with. Okay? You have to figure out what the actual problem is. Because if you jump in and all you're doing is clarity mindset work, and they need steps and commitment and accountability, it's just going to be spinning their wheels. And most times, believe it or not, people will actually self-sabotage and tell you what they want, but it's not what they need. They're only telling you based off of their comfort zone. So if they're talking all about mindset, they probably don't need mindset, my friends, but you have to have a way to get to the root and diagnose their problems. The same is true if like somebody is coming there, they're like, I need all the steps. It's probably what we call an adaptive challenge. It's a challenge that like they have to be able to think differently in order to be able to achieve what they want to achieve. So related to this question is like, if you want to help people have breakthroughs and actually implement and integrate things into their life, you have to find out what the actual problem is they're dealing with. That's literally why we actually put together our certification, because so many people, they either think they know what their problems are, or they project what their problems are onto their clients, and they have no idea how to ask questions, how to get to the root of what's actually holding them back, as opposed to just trying to solve a problem all one way, right? This is also one reason why we love frameworks. We have a framework that we teach. It's called the growth model, but it is not a one size fit all thing. Even though I would love to think it is, no, there are some things out there. There's some problems to help people overcome that don't fit into all of that, right? It is a big thing that you can actually use, but if you're trying to use that with a problem of somebody like, I mean, just, can I give you an example?
Yeah.
Let's say somebody's struggling with like finding new clients, right? They're struggling with finding new clients. We have a way that you can actually figure out what exactly they're struggling with. Are they struggling with like, I can't reach out to people. Am I good enough? Like, am I good enough to actually ask somebody to coach? What if I don't know? What if I get it wrong? Or do you need to figure out like, when do you need to post? What do you need to say? How do you create a Facebook ad? Like, here's the thing. Maybe the one that you think right now is your answer. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're actually stuck from the other one, right? And so you have to be able to figure out what your clients actually need from you. And that's one big thing. So when you go back to like, how do you help them integrate? You find out where they're actually struggling, what their challenge is, right? Sometimes it's both. And then you can help solve those problems. And that's what we're doing. What we're really teaching in this bonus call on the 5th for our certification is how to identify which problem your client is actually dealing with. Because if you don't know, you're going to use the wrong tool. You're going to try to use a hammer to screw in a nail. It's not going to work. It's just going to strip it. It's going to look bad at the end, right? That's really where the power is, identifying that.
Awesome.
Did I go off track?
No.
A little bit? All right. So this last quote is, breakthroughs don't matter if they don't translate into behavior. Breakthroughs don't matter if they don't translate into behavior. And I mean, we've talked about it a little bit today, but if you are somebody who you would love to have, whether it's frameworks, be able to help identify what their problem is, being able to like learn and practice how to be present, how to help them gain clarity, and then how to transform this into like integrate into their life. That's literally what we do inside of the certification. So would it be okay if we actually spent a little bit of time sharing with you how we actually help people integrate these 3 things into their coaching? I'd love to hear inside of the chat. Tina says, is it July 5th yet? So Tina's already a member of our new certification. Yeah, I wish it was, Tina. I wish it was. Lisa says, you're in my head. Lisa, I'm curious, like when you say you're in my head, like what part of it felt like I was in your head. Cynthia says, implementing quickly, taking action so you have a beautiful alignment in all areas of life. Yes, friend, you are living proof of that. Mary, what's going on, Mary? Certified life coach, 1 year currently in the Master Coach Training Program. I love it. I love it. I love it. So here's what I like to do, guys. I want to see if you can ask me a couple more questions related to, yes, these 3 skills, but like how the certification helps them, but also like to give them some idea of like not only what these look like in action, but how can you tell if you're actually doing these 3 things? Mm-hmm. So do you dive into some questions?
Sure. All right. So one of the questions is like, why start these as like the foundation of the certification?
Okay. Yes. So a lot of people will start with the framework in their certification, where for us, it's the growth model. If you've previously been certified with me, it's the push method. There's different, like the model from the life coach school, there's different modalities that people use. And what they typically do is they start by teaching that first. And I don't think it's wrong. I mean, I think it's great. But I feel like if you're not building the foundation correctly, you're going to jump into that resource like you're gonna be like handcuffed to that thing being the thing that transforms your clients. Guys, your framework does not transform your clients. You transform your clients. Mm-hmm. You do that by asking questions. Yes, having a framework, but having these ground level things be in place before you start asking those things, before you start taking them down there. Because if you have a framework and you're not present with them, does it really matter? Mm-hmm. You're just going through the list of like what you have to ask them, but you're going to miss some things, right? If you're not giving them clarity, maybe you're talking about something unrelated to their goal and you just decide to go down that path, right? And they don't leave the call going, I know exactly what I need to do next, right? Or if you're not integrating it and you're just having a great conversation, which is cool, but if somebody's paying you for results, like you want to be able to help them out, right? And so being able to have this as the ground floor is what we start building in the certification. And then once you have that, then you build the other piece on top of that. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that answer your question, by the way?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. So my next question is, what makes this certification different from other programs out there? Because there's tons, right?
Yeah. So and I kind of like alluded to this a little bit earlier, is like some people will choose one of these modalities, right? Some of them will choose like what we call true coaching, is like really being able to get in to ask questions and find out what, where people are stuck mindset wise, right? Yeah. But then we have this other aspect, which is called mentoring. Mentoring, performance-based coaching, those kind of things is all about sharing like your examples, what you've come across, what you've learned, all those kind of things, right? And you help solve technical problems that way. Mm-hmm. Most programs will pick one or the other. They'll be like, hey, we'll teach you how to just life coach. Or they'll teach you, hey, we'll just teach you how to teach people how to put numbers in a spreadsheet, or how to do this accounting software, or like whatever this thing is. And by the way, neither of those are wrong. We like to synergize them together. Synergize? Yeah, we like to synergize them together, which means you get both so that you have both answers to both of the type of challenges that people can go through. Because believe it or not, there's only 2 challenges that people can go through. When you set out on a goal and you're like, this is my goal, there's 2 challenges that you can go through. And when you have solutions to both of them, that's what feels good to me is when we think about what we're doing and who we're creating, we are creating fully confident coaches knowing that they can help coach anybody through any single thing. It doesn't matter like all of these different things that like whether it's like frameworks and things that you've learned, it's like a part of like embodying them where they know I'm about to help somebody and I don't even know how I'm going to help them. Mm-hmm. What would that feel like to get onto a call like that? If you only have half of this, you don't know. And then what'll happen is sometimes when you're having that conversation, you're like, oh, I can't go down that path because I've never been there myself. And so you will just go down this other path, which is not a bad path, but it's like there's so many other opportunities for you to lean in and for you to show up as the coach that they need, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's why I chose both, is because I don't feel like there's ever a one-size solution to everything. Mm-hmm. And so being able to have both really helps people depending on where they're actually struggling.
Yep. Okay. So I have another question. There's like 2 parts to it.
Okay.
So number 1 is like, who was this built for?
Okay.
Who did you have in mind when we were building this certification? Mm-hmm. And then what kind of transformations can people expect if they go through it?
Okay. So who is this built for? So I've actually struggled with this, to be honest with you, because here's the thing. Like, if you know my story, I lost 100 pounds because I did not understand these principles back then, but a coach helped guide me through them. And I lost 100 pounds, and I lost that weight, and I wanted to make an impact in other people's lives. And I'm like, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make that impact. Mm-hmm. And for 7 years, I was forcing my version of coaching because I didn't understand about these two problems and how I could solve them. I was only solving the technical problems, mm-hmm. right? I wasn't solving the actual adaptive ones, and vice versa, right? And so I found this solution. Actually, it was my third year. First 2 years, I decided not to because it was $18,000. I'm like, I don't need that. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm currently doing. Like they say, if you show up a year from now, like everything's going to be changed. And I'm like, it didn't work, mm-hmm. right? And so the third year, I decided to lean in and to become a certified coach, right? And so now I had the solution to both. Since then, we've coached so many different people in so many different niches, like fathers and husbands in relationships, business owners, like multi-million-dollar business owners, doctors, like so many people, like health and fitness, every single one. And so when I think about like all of that experience, that's what naturally gravitated me towards wanting to help coaches. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason why I say I struggle with this is because like this was something that transformed my life by being able to coach myself through this. Some of you guys originally met me from my book. So it's Mastering Your Life Through Self-Coaching. That is what changed my life forever, is being able to coach myself, right? But then I also know there's a lot of power in being able to coach your family and being able to coach other people around you and being able to coach other people in the police force when I was with LAPD, and then being able to coach other people in business, right? And so when I think about this, that's why I was saying I was struggle. But when I think about like the person that this is made for, this is made for the person who is feeling called to coach. Like they're like, I want this to make an impact in other people's lives. That's why they're called heart-centered coaches. And I'm also willing to do this work myself so that I can impact and change my life forever. So it's the people out there who feel called to coach. Maybe you're coaching, maybe you have a framework, maybe you don't, right? But you're looking for a way of being able to truly make an impact in other people's lives. This is not you're going to make $1 million, even though I want you to. And even though you can. I mean, I'm sure you've seen all the different coaches, but when we think about, and when I talk about like the community that I want to surround myself with, it is impact driven, like heart driven people and coaches who want to make an impact in the world. And let me tell you, you will make money. Teresa and I both left our full-time jobs when we were I was in my 40s. You were in your 30s, right? I mean, you're still like 26. So I don't know how that's possible, right? And that will happen. But like they say, it happens after you help enough people get what they want. And really, that's what our focus is here too. So if I had to say who that person is, it's that person.
Mm-hmm. And then what kind of transformation should they expect?
What kind of transformation do you want? What kind of transformation? Because it doesn't matter. And I've literally tested this in everything from, can I give you an example yesterday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my kids were getting upset at each other. They were arguing. Can you believe that?
What?
I know. Kids? Maybe they can hear me right now. It's okay. They know they get upset at each other. And what I realized is they were actually talking about two different things. Like my older son was saying something related to like a video game, and my other son was coming in and saying something related to the video game. But when I thought about it, I'm like, they just don't understand each other. Like, it's not that like one of them is right or wrong, even though they both chose it. And so what I did was like, what is a question that I could ask that helped them both see how they both actually make sense? And so I asked them a question, right? I'm like, hey, buddy, like when you're trying to say this, is this what you're trying to say or something different? And through that, you could see the transformation that happened in their faces where they're like, oh, I didn't realize he was saying it that way. And what happens is like, when you talk about transformations, like that's just one question. And that was from the experiences that I have of being present, listening to them, not coming to my own judgments, but just asking a question to get curious, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you think about the impact that this can make, that's why I say, where do you want to have impact, right? One of the things that you will recognize by joining our certification is the person that will be impacted the most will be you. Because the thing that we do here is we make sure that you are somebody who gets the coaching that you need and that you are transformed. Because when you are transformed, it's so much easier to talk to everybody else about how you can help transform them too. And so when you get into that, when you help yourself transform through whatever it is, a lot of people don't know this. I was a very angry person. One of these days, I'll tell you the McDonald's Egg McMuffin story. All right.
They already know.
Let's just say that I was a very angry person until the idea of coaching came my way, until I understood why my brain was going down that path. And when I had the solution to it, it changed everything for me. Changed how I showed up at work. It changed how I exercised and how I got healthy. It changed my relationship with Teresa and the kids. It's changed how I've grown my business. It's changed like how I became a sergeant for LAPD. Like all of those areas changed. And because they changed and transformed, other people came to me and go, what is it that you're doing? Like so many times we teach this process around creating demand. And so many times what people don't realize is the best way for you to create demand is to transform your own life, because then everybody wants to know. They're like, wait, what are you doing? Right? It was funny when I was about 15 years on with LAPD, I started talking about like, I'm actually going to retire and leave LAPD early and I'm going to become a coach. And everybody's like, what? You're going to coach people like kids? I'm like, no, I'm just going to be doing like some life and performance coaching. They're like, life coaching? Like, what is that all about? Right? There's a lot of haters out there, right? Fast forward 5 years ago when I left, I got a few messages. Hey, what is it that you're doing again? Right? Once you leave, once you like get people to see that, they're like, I want to be able to do that. And that's the same gift that you have, my friends. Not only through the transformation that you're going to have if you join us, but also the transformations that you've been through. All of those are living on the inside of you, and other people need them. They may not need all the steps. They may need to have a breakthrough. They may need to have this integration involved to make sure that they actually take action. But all of those things are living inside of you, just like all of the answers are living inside of your clients, your kids, your spouse, and the people you lead. You just got to get good at pulling them out. Yep. And that's what we do. Sound good? All right, you in? Teresa told me the other day she's not going to join. She's like, I'm out. I am out. All right, guys. If this sparks something in you, reach out to us. We have a select number of spots left. We start July 12th. All right. We actually are giving a super discounted price for people who join in now. We're not going to tell you here. You have to reach out to us. You have to be the type of person that can lead yourself to send us a message, drop a comment below, send me an email, wave your hand, do something like that so we can reach out and connect to you. Of course, there's also the wait list, which is modernleadership.us/certification. So if you've never been connected with us, this is the first video you ever watched. I appreciate you so much for making it here to the end. That does not happen often, friends. But everybody else who already knows us, reach out to us. Have a conversation. There's always no pressure, by the way. If this is something that we don't feel that is a good right time for you, please, we will tell you. We will definitely tell you that, all right? But if you're committed to helping people change lives, you want to have frameworks and knowledge and this understanding that we talked about, these 3 skills today. That's literally what we're doing. And we're doing it for the next 7 months. And we would love to have you to be a part of that. All right, guys. Appreciate you so much. Thank you guys for making it here. Despite all our technical challenges, we made it through. All right. Kurt just gave me the thumbs up, so we should be good. All right. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for leaning in. Whether you join us or not, these 3 things are critical, okay? Be present there with your family, with whoever it is in front of you, all right? It does not help you to be physically in one place and mentally in another. Be there both, right? Then ask yourself, how can I help this person get more clear, get clarity so they can take action? And number 3 is, how can I help them implement and integrate this into their lives? That's the foundation of all coaching. And when you really rock this, you can change people's lives forever. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being willing to lean in, and thank you for leading from the front. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.